When I heard this story that this sister's going to tell, I mean, I was just floored, but I'm not too floored about the bank itself. Wells Fargo is one of the most horrible banks in America, and it also has been tied to slavery. Wells Fargo is one of the banks that would mortgage our ancestors to the slave master, because the slave master all the time had the money to buy us, right? Our ancestors. So he would take out a mortgage. No different, you would take out a mortgage on a car or at least a car payment or some sort of property, right? Wells Fargo was one of the banks that actually did that. If they didn't pay their payments, well, you know, think about it. Here come repo the slave and sell the slave off to somebody else's plantation. Wells Fargo is involved in prison labor, you know, financing that as well. Black people should not have accounts at Wells Fargo. But what happens to this particular sister? She didn't have an account at Wells Fargo, but her mortgage was, you know, bought by Wells Fargo. But let's go ahead and roll this clip of what happened to her.
If your mortgage is with Wells Fargo, I would highly advise refinance your mortgage and move it to another bank. Because what Wells Fargo was doing was, I paid my mortgage through ACH. And what they were doing was they were holding my mortgage, waiting until day 16 of the grace period, apply late fees, and then deposit it into another account. I didn't know about this until my bank and my lawyer's forensic accountant got involved. And my bank was like, yeah, you paid the mortgage on the 1st. They held it on the 15th. They deposited on the 16th to another account. So that way you could rack up late fees. And that's how they were able to justify the foreclosure, by saying that I wasn't making mortgage payments, by depositing my payments into another account.
Hearing that is very, very wicked of Wells Fargo. And where is the U.S. attorney? He should be filing charges on Wells Fargo. Somebody should be going to jail with that. Whoever decided to start doing that, she's sending her payment on the 1st. You hold it until the 16th so she can rack up late fees and then do a scheme to basically take a house from her. But this is what, you know, happened, and how Wells Fargo got her particular house is that she didn't start off with Wells Fargo. See what happens. Let's say you go to a builder, whatever builder you could think of. In Houston, you got many of them. You got D.R. Horton, you got Lennar, you got so many of them, right? Well, you go through the builder, they finance you through their bank. And then what they do is, after about 3 months, they transfer your, you know, mortgage to another bank that wanted it, like Wells Fargo, whatever. That probably what happened with her. Well, she's paying her stuff like she's supposed to, and they had a scheme to want to take her home away from her. So now she's in a legal fight, you know, with having a lawyer in the banks and all that other things. Wells Fargo should not be in operation in the United States whatsoever. About all the things they were doing. You remember the other scandal they had, that they was creating fake accounts and depositing, taking people money and using it to create fake accounts so they can have their targets that they need. Now, why would they do that? Because when other people want to get financing and all this stuff from them, if they don't have a certain amount of accounts, then some people don't want to invest in the bank. So they're doing a bunch of nefarious things, and yet nobody went to jail. Nobody went to jail. But you had a brother had got a freaking $10,000 PPP loan, and he went to jail for that. But they don't go to jail. That's the thing. The regular citizen that do something wrong, they go to jail like that. But the bankers, they don't go to jail whatsoever. See, I couldn't be a president because I'm like, oh, you going to jail. They say, because you're not going to steal from people. That is completely criminal. But, you know, shout out to this sister for letting people know, you know, what actually happened with her. But, yeah, you got to sue them, and also expose them. Because if you don't tell the community what's going on, then how can we defend ourselves, you know, against it? The bankers don't really like nobody, let's be honest. But when it comes to black people, they have a special disdain for us.